Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic, and on this channel it's my job to point you in the direction of movies worth checking out. So if that interests you, definitely hit the subscribe button. And today I'm here to tell you if Dr. Sleep, the long-awaited sequel to The Shining, is worth a watch. Now, just a quick little summary of the story. We focus in on Danny Torrance, all grown up, this time played by Ewan McGregor, and his life is pretty much in the dumps, right? He's an alcoholic, he steals, his life is just in the shitter. But he finds a chance to redeem himself by working in a hospital, and they call him Dr. Sleep because he comforts dying patients. But he also has a chance to redeem himself after the traumatic events of the first Shining movie with this new girl named Abra, because there is a certain cult led by Rebecca Ferguson's Rose the Hat who prey on people who have the Shining. So it's up to Danny and Abra to defeat this cult, and that may include a revisit to the Overlook Hotel. I don't think I'm spoiling anything, it was in the trailer. So is Dr. Sleep worth a watch today? I would say yes, especially if you're a fan of The Shining. Now, with a movie like this coming out so many years after the original, you know, a lot of people might be like, I don't know, like The Shining is such a great movie. It's such a classic. A lot of people hold it really dear to their hearts. They're making a sequel. And just like Terminator Dark Fate, which just took a dump on the legacy of the first two movies, does Dr. Sleep take a dump on The Shining's legacy? Definitely not. It honors it very, very well. And I'll talk about that in a second, but I first wanted to talk about how much I loved Ewan McGregor in this movie. And he's one of those actors that there's something about his performances, no matter what movie he's in, your eyes are glued to the screen. He's so charming and charismatic, even when he's not playing a charming and charismatic guy. He just has this conviction in everything he says and does on screen that your eyes are just glued to the screen. You have to keep watching. And he does a great job as Danny Torrance. You really do feel the trauma that he went through in the first movie and how it's affected him all these years later. And he also brings that sympathetic nature to it where it's like, okay, yes, you can feel for him and you want to see him succeed. You want to see him get over, you know, the traumatic events of the first movie, and you want to see him help this new girl, which he has great chemistry with. Kylie Curran as Abra, which again, she was phenomenal. A great child performance. But the one actress who steals the show is Rebecca Ferguson as Rose the Hat, and she is just loving every second that she's on screen. And I love villains like this who just love being evil. Like she almost gets she gets turned on by it. You know, she sucks out the shine from people, kind of like the Dementors like sucking out people's souls in Harry Potter. The shine, she will suck it out of them, and then her eyes get all, you know, white and crazy, and it's like the steam coming out of their mouths. And when she's breathing it in, it's giving her tons of life and energy, but it's also giving her like this sexual pleasure because of it. She just loves being evil. And another thing that this movie does really, really well is that it gives time to flesh out its villains. Now, you don't condone any of the actions that they're taking, but you understand why they need to do it. You know, it's not just a bad guy that just is bad for the sake of being bad, which could be scary, but in this movie, you understand the villains, you understand their personality traits, why they're doing the things that they're doing. And yes, you don't condone them, but you understand why they're doing them. And Rebecca Ferguson is great in this movie. So you have the main cast down, which is really important. But this film, like I said earlier, it feels like a true Shining sequel. It doesn't feel like a complete retread of the first movie. And yes, there is a lot of fan service, which was absolutely wonderful. And it was wonderful because it's not in your face with it. Yes, you do see the Overlook Hotel. Yes, you do hear some of the same themes. Yes, you do see Red Rum again. But the Shining fan service isn't just there because, you know, nostalgia. We remember The Shining. Hey guys, we're the Hollywood executives. Come see our movie. It's just like The Shining. You remember this. No, it is in service to the characters and the story. And the reason why all those things are in there, you understand them. You're like, okay, I understand why they're in this movie. They're not just showing, hey guys, remember this? It is in service of the bigger picture. And this movie does feel like a Stanley Kubrick movie, at least for some of the parts. You know, like I said in my Shining review, which you can find right up here. I always forget which side it is. But in that movie, some of the shots you can really feel are just super static and super long and super unnerving. And there are shots like that in this movie where it's just like, okay, we're not moving. And you just know something scary is going to happen, and it creates a lot of unease. And Stanley Kubrick did that really, really well in the first movie, and it's here too as well. And I also like the new direction that it goes in. You have a cult of people that are obsessed with people who have the shine, and they feed off of them. Kind of like, you know, vampires that feed off blood. These people feed off the shine of other people, which is a great idea. And just one thing that I thought was kind of funny, Ewan McGregor is in this movie, and obviously he plays Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, and having Shining is kind of like having Jedi powers, right? You can read people's minds, you can manipulate people's minds, and some people can even manipulate reality with The Shining. It's just like having Jedi powers. And this movie was directed by Mike Flanagan, and I haven't seen Haunting of Hill House, even though my company, the film studio I'm working with, is doing the sequel, so stay tuned for that. I don't know anything about the plot, so I couldn't even spoil it if I tried. And I've seen Hush once. I haven't seen Oculus, and I haven't seen the Ouija movie. Did he do Ouija? I don't really remember. But I haven't seen many of his movies. But after watching this and after watching Hush and hearing good things about Haunting of Hill House, I may have to start watching some of his movies, because in this movie especially, I felt like it wasn't too scary, okay? But there were some scares in the movie, but they weren't jump scares. They weren't jolts. They weren't just flash some scary imagery on the screen, make it really, really loud like most of the movies out there. Like It did that a lot. The scary moments in this movie, like the Shining fan service, was in service to the story, not because it needed to fill like a scare quota, right? We need to have a jump scare every 5 minutes to keep the teenagers, you know, who are obsessed with their phones just, oh God, okay, I'll put my phone down, I'll watch the movie. The scary moments are in service to the overall story. Now, my only two problems with the movie, and one isn't really a big problem, is that it doesn't have the same bone-chilling unease that the first movie had. Now, this movie does take a lot of the same sound cues from the first movie, and those work wonderful, but there's something about being isolated in a hotel in the middle of the mountains that just feels a lot more scary than this group of this cult of people going after you. Again, being chased and being pursued is pretty scary as well, but you know, with the villains being really fleshed out and you understand why they're doing it, they didn't seem too scary. There was one scene in particular that I felt like really just, I was getting kind of squeamish. I'm like, oh God, like, you know, like this isn't easy to watch and it feels very, very Stephen King, but it lacked that really bone-chilling terror that the first movie had. And that's not a major problem of the movie. That's just saying that, yeah, The Shining is scarier than this movie. And my only other little gripe with this movie is that I did feel the length at times. This is a 2.5 hour long movie, and I actually did like the slow beginning of the movie, you know, getting into Ewan McGregor's Danny Torrance and, you know, learning all about the cult, and I like the slow pace. But around the halfway point of the movie, I'm like, all right, guys, let's get it going, let's get it going, let's get it going. And is that just me being impatient? I don't know. A lot of people don't have a problem with it, but I did find the length an issue. So for an overall rating, I'm going to give Dr. Sleep a 3 out of 5. Now, I know a lot of people will see that and go like, oh my God, you hated the movie, because they just see a 3 and they automatically associate it with being a low rating. But you know what though, guys? I like this movie. Will I be telling people about it at work or be telling people like, you gotta go see this movie? No. That's just more of a personal preference thing. But like I said earlier, and like I listed in this entire video, Mike Flanagan did a lot of good things in this movie, and I just saw it today, so who knows, maybe after a couple other viewings I'll start to appreciate it more. But as of right now, I liked the movie. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. I recommend it. It is worth a watch in theaters. So anyways, guys, tell me down in the comment section down below, what is your favorite horror sequel? I gotta go with Dr. Sleep because I haven't seen many other horror sequels. That's a genre I haven't really got into too much, just because growing up I was a pretty big wimp when it came to that kind of stuff. So I've seen The Exorcist, I've seen, you know, Friday the 13th, but you know what? After seeing a movie like this, I gotta watch more Mike Flanagan movies. I gotta watch more horror movies. Let me know, what is your favorite horror sequel? What are some horror movies I should watch? What horror movies would you like to see me review? Let me know down below. And if you like videos like this and you want to see more, definitely hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.